I'm Nuri Ben. Welcome to a one-of-a-kind event for a first-of-its-kind honor, the Combat Anti-Semitism Award bestowed on Muslim leaders engaged in the fight against anti-Semitism. So why now? Well, the statistics of the last few years tell just part of the story and the urgency. Last year, the United States, with the largest Jewish community in the diaspora, recorded the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents on record. In Europe, within living memory of the Holocaust, 80% of Jews say anti-Semitism has increased in their own country, and a full 40% live in fear of the next attack. Globally, an ancient hatred is being repackaged and spread at the speed of the internet from multiple directions, including the extreme right, the far left, and radical Islamists. So it's fitting that the first honor goes to our guest, Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, Secretary General of the Muslim World League, a former Saudi justice minister, and a leading global voice against extremism and for change. But really, this isn't just about an award. The Combat Anti-Semitism movement and the American Sephardi Federation have brought together this unique global conversation with leaders from Riyadh to London, New York, to Washington and Casablanca. And we're all virtually coming together here. We really can't ignore the reality around us. The last several months have been defined by a historic crisis in health, in economies, and communities. And if history is any lesson, it's times like these that fan the flames of religious hatred. We've already seen that begin. The people joining us today, though, not only believe in the concept of a different future, but are acting on it. Among those, we'll be hearing from leaders of the U.S. Jewish communities, U.S. Special Envoy Ilan Carr, U.S. Ambassador at Large Sam Brownback, UN Special Rapporteur Ahmed Shahid, and of course, our guest of honor, Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa. And we're streaming live across platforms, so you can join us from wherever you are in the world on Combat Anti-Semitism's page on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And right here to kick us off, Director of the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, Sasha Roitman-Dratwa. Sasha, tell us a little bit about what brought this award on for you and this conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Nurit. And really, thank you, dear friend, for being with us today. Dear speakers, thank you, really, for joining us from all over the world. Today is an honor to celebrate the vision and courage of Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa. But we are here also to show the world that Jews and Muslims can work together to build a better world. Thank you, Ambassador Brownback, for being with us today. Thank you, Special Envoy Ilan Carr, to represent the U.S. government, and also to have with us Mohammed, Mr. Shahid. As usual, it's a pleasure to host you in our events. We have also the pleasure to have the Albanian ambassador to the United Nations, Mrs. Kadari, and also leaders from the American Jewish community. In recent weeks, America and now the world have heard voice crying out against racism and injustice. It is more important than ever that we all stand together against hatred and discrimination. Myself, I'm blessed to be the father of a one-year-old baby. And I can tell you something, that babies are born to love. They don't know the difference between colors and faith. We, the adults, are teaching them to hate. It's time to stop and begin to mutually respect each other. We, the adults, have the responsibility to build bridges between faith, people, and nations. We need to create a world of peace for our children. At the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, we represent 250 organizations and more than 250,000 people from all over the world. Our coalition has chosen to recognize the work of those who fight. We are no longer the victims. A leading voice in favor of cooperation, coexistence among all the people is Sheikh Mohammed Al-Issa, driven by the conviction and belief our honoree has surprised many by speaking out against anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and all forms of hatred. These dangers have only been rising in the recent years. Jewish community from all over the world are some of the most targeted acts of hate, even when they make a tiny percentage of the population. We need vision and commitment. This is embodied in the Combat Anti-Semitism movement. And thank you all for being with us today.
Sasha, thanks so much for that. And of course, you'll be with us throughout this special broadcast. And as I mentioned before, also behind this event is the American Sephardi Federation. Jason Guberman is their executive director. He's a talented scholar fighting every day to do exactly what Sasha just mentioned, to build bridges between the Jewish people and the Muslim world. And he's here to maybe remind us of an often forgotten history between the two as well. Jason, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Ambassador Brownback, Special Envoy Carr, Executive Vice Chairman Hohenlein, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, UN Special Rapporteur Shahid, and our other distinguished speakers from the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations, the Jewish Federations of North America and Association Mimuna, as well as the thousands joining us from home around the world. The Americans are proud
All right, it looks like we might have lost Jason's audio a little bit. What can we do? This is the world we live in today, that this is the only way we can all get together. But we'll persist. We'll try to get you back in a moment. And let me move on to really one of the most prominent voices in U.S. Jewish communities. For over 3 decades, Malcolm Online has been at the helm of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. They bring together with one single voice the concerns of 52 national Jewish organizations, working to convey them to local and world leaders. And Malcolm, I know you also have a message to start us off with. All right, it looks like Malcolm, we may not have reached him quite yet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. We hear you well. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll turn it over to you.
I'll start again. Thank you for the invitation and that I'm here as a friend, admirer, and collaborator. Many were skeptical when we first started the relationship with Sheikh Al-Issa years ago, but we knew from the beginning that he was a special partner who put himself into challenging circumstances, even potentially dangerous ones, to pursue the principles, values, and commitments he held dear, including the fight against hatred and specifically anti-Semitism in the Muslim world. From the start, he established a spiritual bond of heart and mind. We saw how he matched words with deeds, intentions with results. And so it has been from the Sheikh's landmark speech about the Muslim obligation for Holocaust education and remembrance at the Conference of Presidents event at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, to Stop the Hate Pledge campaign, to the first ever Conference of Presidents leadership mission in Saudi Arabia this past February, and so much more over these years. We have traveled far together, physically and now virtually, and we have much more to accomplish. Thank you, Sheikh Al-Issa, our brother, teacher, and partner in repairing the world. The events during the COVID epidemic has reminded us how much more we all have in common. The common challenges far outweigh any differences. The intense circumstances, tensions, and change here and around the world make the Sheikh's enlightened leadership all the more important. The societal disruptions, economic hardships, widespread sense and reality of systemic dislocation are a cocktail for racism, bigotry, and anti-Semitism. So Sheikh, we pray that you be granted many years of good health, continued leadership, inshallah.
Thanks so much, Malcolm. And we will hear a little bit more about the Sheikh and his work and, of course, hear from him. But before we continue, let's jump back to Jason Guberman at the American Sephardi Federation with his message as we kick off this truly one-of-a-kind event.
Ambassador Brownback, Special Envoy Carr, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, Executive Vice Chairman Honline, UN Special Rapporteur Shahid, and our other distinguished speakers from the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Jewish Federations of North America, and Association Mimuna, as well as thousands joining us from around the world. The American Sephardi Federation is proud to partner with the Combat Anti-Semitism movement to honor our friend, the Muslim World League Secretary General Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, for his commitment, courage, and creativity countering anti-Semitism, as well as fighting against all forms of hate, bigotry, and fanaticism. The ASF's role is particularly poignant because we preserve and promote the history, culture, and voice of the greater Sephardic communities, including Jewish communities that have lived in the Middle East and North Africa for thousands of years and whose legacy lives on. Indeed, Arabian Jews welcomed the Prophet Mohammed when he came to Medina, a city that, according to tradition, was founded by Jewish refugees from Jerusalem. And the Jews, as well as their Muslim and Christian neighbors, were included by the Prophet Muhammad as part of the Ummah, or community, in the Charter of Medina, the first ever constitution that recognized the equal rights of all people and for which the Prophet is honored as a lawgiver at the United States Supreme Court. True to the example of Islam's founder, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa's mission is to advance true Islam. Last year, the Sheikh authored the Charter of Mecca, a document whose principles include individual freedom, responsibility, and equality under God, prioritizing the path of moderation and respect for national sovereignty and the rule of law, which was unanimously endorsed by an unparalleled gathering of the world's 1,200 leading Islamic scholars. The month before, on Yom HaShoah, and during U.S. Holocaust Remembrance Week, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa signed the It Stops Now agreement between the Muslim World League and the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations with the ASF. In the wake of the hateful, horrific terrorist attacks on Muslims in New Zealand, Jews in Pittsburgh and Poway and Christians at Colombo, we came together at the Center for Jewish History to declare that hatred against anyone is a threat to everyone, to raise awareness about how more mosques have been bombed and more Muslims have been killed by Islamist extremists than any other group, and how the historical lesson of anti-Semitism is that every group that's been infected by the hatred of Jews inflicted unimaginable suffering and misery on Jews and non-Jews and ended in ruination. Bigotry knows no boundaries. Hatred of one group inevitably leads to hatred of others. And historical irony that proves the point. In 1937, Hamid Maliji, an Egyptian attorney, exposed how the Arabic translation of Hitler's Mein Kampf was selective, concealing his anti-Arab animus. Nevertheless, the Muslim Brotherhood and Khomeini's regime continues to spread this Nazi propaganda against Jews today. The Charter of Mecca, it stops now, and the Sheikh's multitude of mitzvot stand in stark contrast to today's temptation towards political expediency. In the well-meaning but misguided sense, people make topics taboo and enforce feel-good consensus. More menacingly, Islamists and Islamophobes have found common cause, twisting history to claim eternal enmity between Muslims and Jews, dating to at least the alleged Medina massacre. This incident, however, is a myth, perhaps a retelling of the mass suicide at Masada, and other allegations mix fact and fiction. We must, in the words of historian Alain Bessasson, wholly reject the ideological partial truth as the very site of falsification and what is most false. At the ASF, as a library and archive, historical and cultural organization, we do not deal in narratives, but rather focus on history in its full complexity. There are examples going back to the inception of Islam conducive to coexistence. From Rabbi Muhairek's friendship with the Prophet Mohammed and martyrdom in the service of his cause, the influence of Islamic sources on Hacham Rabbi Sadia Gaon's tafsir, or Arabic translation of the Torah. Since the Sheikh is an admirer of Maimonides, Rabbi Musa ibn Maimon, let me add that Rambam's son, Rabbi Abraham, contended that a truly Islamic society was best for rationalist monotheism. Throughout the millennia since, there have been tragic times and disagreements that need to be discussed. Thankfully, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa's moral courage is matched by his boundless intellectual curiosity and willingness to confront controversy head-on, including in his recent Arab News interview with a Jewish-American journalist on Islam's relationship with Judaism and Christianity. In the spirit of Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, the ASF, with Muslim partners, annually holds a commemoration of the Khojaly massacre. This year, we heard testimony from Holocaust and Ishaq genocide survivors. Recognizing the suffering of others does not create what Holocaust scholar Robert Weistrick has termed a competition among the victims, but rather is a demonstration of our continuing commitment to build bridges for a better future. Similarly, we must have the courage of our convictions to stand in solidarity with our Muslim friends and partners, especially Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa. At a time of increasing intolerance and manifestations of evil, such as the senseless Houthi slaughter of Yemeni soldiers praying in a mosque, we need to redouble our resolve and reaffirm our principles. We cannot concede or compromise with despair. Together we can overcome. Together we must overcome. Never again.
Thank you very much, Jason. On that note, Jason did just mention a little bit of Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa's work, but before we continue, let's hear a little bit more about it, because he made history once again as the most senior Muslim leader to visit the Nazi death camps at Auschwitz-Birkenau earlier this year. And it's one of several actions that speak volumes and send a powerful message to both the Jewish and the Islamic worlds. And that's the core of his work, building bridges between Jews and Muslims and proving that we don't need to accept the status quo and that they can have a different and a shared future.
Thanks to the extraordinary, bold, and courageous statements and leadership of Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, we see that it is possible again for Jews and Muslims to be natural allies. Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, Secretary General of the Muslim World League and former Minister of Justice of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is the most prominent voice of moderate Islam today, devoting himself to reconciliation between religions, speaking out to reject Holocaust denial, while combating anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and all forms of religious hatred. Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa's relationship with the Jewish community has been built on mutual respect and positive action. In November 2017, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa visited the Paris Grand Synagogue. In January 2018, for the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa sent a letter to the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, sharing his sympathy with the victims of the Holocaust and condemning its denial. Later, he visited and joined an event at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, featuring representatives of Muslim countries that saved or protected Jews during the Holocaust. In this event, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa said, "We should carry on with dialogue, and we should never listen to the voices of hatred and exclusion." That same month, he visited the American Sephardi Federation at the Center for Jewish History. After the atrocity at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue, he issued the Muslim World League's first ever condemnation of an anti-Semitic terrorist attack. In 2018, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa visited the Park East Synagogue and signed an agreement with the Appeal of Conscience Foundation, calling for the protection of religious sites around the world. The Sheikh with the American Sephardi Federation toured New York's Spanish and Portuguese synagogue, Sharif Israel, the birthplace of the American Jewish community. On Yom HaShoah 2019, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa signed the historic It Stops Now agreement against hate, bigotry, and fanaticism, together with the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations and the American Sephardi Federation. The agreement reads in part, "Hatred against anyone is a threat to everyone. It stops now." The Sheikh led the Muslim World League and American Jewish Committee's historic visit of Muslim leaders to Auschwitz to commemorate the 75th anniversary of its liberation. There he said, "God frustrated Nazi plans, and they met with the most horrible defeat. They went down in history as the scum of their era, but some still bemoan their defeat today. These people share a common hatred of Jews and Muslims." In May 2020, in a powerful interview with a Jewish writer in the Arab News, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa declared, "We as Muslims respect, love, understand, cooperate, coexist, and tolerate everyone. With our Jewish brothers, we concluded agreements and mutual cooperation, and we love them and respect them greatly." The Combat Anti-Semitism Movement and the American Sephardi Federation commend Sheikh Dr. Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al-Issa for his courageous and outstanding contributions towards countering extremism, building bridges of understanding, and combating anti-Semitism. We are pleased to honor him with the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award bestowed on Muslim leaders engaged in the fight against anti-Semitism.
And in just a few minutes, we'll hear that keynote speech from Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa. But first, I want to bring in one of his key American counterparts, Ilan Carr, the U.S. Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. And the United States, too, is not immune from rising anti-Semitism. Jews make up under 3%, that's it, of the entire U.S. population. But they face the majority of reported religious hate crimes. Ilan himself, the son of Iraqi Jewish refugees, you're on the front line of the efforts to stop that trend. So take us through a little bit of your perspective, what the United States is doing and how the role of Muslim countries is key.
Well, first of all, thank you so much to the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, to the American Sephardi Federation, Sasha, Jason. Your leadership is evident in everything you do. And this program is exhibit A of the work that both of these wonderful organizations do to make our world a better place. It is such a pleasure and honor for me to be here for a whole host of reasons, among them to be in the company of my friends and colleagues who are speakers today, including Ambassador Brownback, my good friend and colleague, and Special Rapporteur Dr. Ahmed Shahid, who has made such an impact. By the way, wrote the best anti-Semitism report that among the best I've ever seen out of any organization, and certainly something that was groundbreaking for the UN, and I can't thank him enough. But the reason why I'm so touched and honored to be part of this today is to share this with and to honor really Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, who is truly a leader of vision and truly making this world a better place. I had the great privilege of spending time with the Sheikh at a conference of the Muslim World League in Geneva. He was gracious enough to invite me to give the closing address at that conference. And having spent time with him personally, one-on-one, I can say that his remarkable leadership and his vision for a better world is amply matched by his warmth of character and his captivating charisma. And so I want to begin by thanking him and by congratulating him for receiving this much deserved honor of the Combat Anti-Semitism Award. Look, you were correct. As you said in your introduction of me, I'm speaking from a unique perspective here as an Iraqi Jew, the son of refugees who fled anti-Semitism. My mother was a young girl when there was a knock at the door, and it was soldier who arrested her father, my grandfather. It was early in the morning. He still had shaving cream on his face. They dragged him away, paraded him through the streets in leg irons like a slave with other Jews they had rounded up from the community. He then went through a Stalinist show trial and was thrown in prison for no reason other than being a Jew. And my family then fled and escaped where? Across the border to Iran, where the Shah of Iran, a regime that had rescued Jews during the Holocaust, was then helping Jews escape persecution, anti-Semitic persecution, and giving them asylum. I wanted to start with this story because it is very important to note that when we talk about Muslim-Jewish relations, we have to be very honest and we have to be very clear that today in the world, the chief state sponsor not only of terrorism, but of anti-Semitism is the Islamic Republic of Iran, a very different Iran than the Iran that saved my family. And when you look at what Iran is doing, its malign influences, the anti-Semitic doctrines that it has pushed out, not only throughout its own people in Iran, but through Hezbollah and its network of schools in Lebanon to Lebanese school children. When you look at the indoctrination that you're seeing in Iranian-funded mosques, and then when you look at the terror activity, the mass murder that Iran and his proxies have visited upon the world, we have got to say that combating anti-Semitism is at a critical central role containing the malign influence of the Islamic Republic of Iran. But it's not only Iran that had a different history than the history of today. You know, the Arab world and the Muslim world writ large was a place, as Jason said in the beginning, of remarkable tolerance. How many people know that the works of Aristotle, which had been lost in the Dark Ages in Europe, were reintroduced to the West by returning crusaders because they were translated and read and studied in the Muslim world? How many people know that Jews and Christians were protected by the Muslim empire, which ruled from Baghdad to Spain? How many people know that the Muslim empire allowed flourishing communities of thought and of tolerance? The first yeshivot, the first centers of Jewish learning, Surah, Kumbedita, Nahardea, all in what is today Iraq. And so we don't have to speculate. We don't have to dream. We don't have to imagine what a new Middle East can look like. We have a model of what the Middle East can look like. We have the models of tolerance, of philo-Semitism, not only tolerance, but of philo-Semitism, and of affection and protection for Christians as well. We have that model. And so the only question is for leaders today, is what kind of Middle East are we going to choose? The Middle East of terror and exclusion, or the Middle East of inclusion and of openness and of tolerance and of bridges between peoples and bridges between religions? It's very clear what choice has been made by the Muslim leader of today, Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa. He has chosen to build a future of tolerance and to build a future of affection and to build a future where Jews and Christians can live in the Middle East, worship as they please, live as they choose, and be embraced by their Arab and by their Muslim brethren. That's the kind of future he has chosen. And he is making it impact every single day by having chosen that future. And so I want to conclude, as I open, by thanking him for his remarkable vision and for his commitment to turning over a new chapter and to building a new future for the sake of not only Jewish and Christian children, but for the sake of the children of the world who deserve that better future of decency and justice and tolerance and love that we know that we can build for them, thanks to his leadership.
U.S. Envoy Ilan Carr, I think we could have no better introduction for the Sheikh and his words, and a really important reminder from you of the importance itself of remembering, of recognizing, and learning from history. And I think that's something that really runs through in many of the perspectives we're bringing together here from around the world. And now let's not waste any time receiving the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award and laying out his vision for a future of cooperation between Jews and Muslims. It's my pleasure to introduce Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa in his special address recorded for translation.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السادة أعضاء حركة مكافحة معاداة السامية واتحاد السفارديم الأمريكي، السادة المسؤولون الأمريكيون، القادة الدينيون، سيداتي سادتي، الضيوف الكرام، أصحاب المعالي، يشرفني أن نجتمع هنا في هذا اليوم لمناقشة هذا الموضوع المهم، موضوع مكافحة معاداة السامية حول العالم. أود أن أتوقف لحظة لأشكر حركة مكافحة معاداة السامية ومديرها السيد ساشا رويتمان دراتو، واتحاد السفارديم الأمريكي، والسيد جيسون جوبرمان على تنظيم هذا الحدث في أوانه. وهما منظمتان تقومان بدور عظيم في نشر الوعي وقيم التسامح بين الأديان وفي الحفاظ على تاريخ وتقاليد مجتمع السفارديم الثري والرائع. أود أن أثني على دعمكم المستمر للمسلمين ورفض أولئك الذين يرغبون في نشر الإسلاموفوبيا وأشكال التمييز الأخرى. وكما أود أن أشارككم شعوري بالامتنان على تواجد السيد إيلون كار المبعوث الأمريكي الخاص لمراقبة ومكافحة معاداة السامية معنا اليوم. ولقد تشرفت بمقابلة السيد كار وناقشنا معا سبل وأهمية بناء جسور التسامح والتفاهم حول العالم. وطبعا السفير سام براونباك سفير الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية للحرية الدينية الدولية، وهو من الرواد العالميين في توحيد أتباع الأديان المختلفة حول الأهداف المشتركة. أعتقد أننا رأينا في الآونة الأخيرة مدى أهمية العمل كمجتمعات وحتى كمجتمع دولي لتحقيق الأهداف المشتركة، وأن نؤطر هذه الأهداف حول قيم التفاهم والتعاطف والثقة. وما يحدث الآن يثبت لنا أنه حتى في الدول المتقدمة والمتنوعة ثقافيا مثل الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، فإن عدم معالجة سوء الفهم وضعف الثقة يشكل خطرا كبيرا. وتفاقم هذا الأمر قد يؤدي إلى الغضب والعنف والانقسامات الاجتماعية التي لا تخدم أحدا. في كل أنحاء العالم نواجه تحديات في بناء جسور التواصل والشراكة والصداقة، ولكن في ظل التهديدات المعقدة التي نواجهها من الإرهاب إلى الأوبئة العالمية، فقد أصبحت شراكاتنا أكثر أهمية من أي وقت مضى. نواجه اليوم جميعا عدوا مشتركا في فيروس كورونا، والذي انتشر في كل ركن من أركان العالم، ما يدل على أنه لا يهمه إن كان الشخص مسلما أو غير مسلم، يهوديا أو غير يهودي، مسيحيا أو غير مسيحي إلى آخره، غنيا أو فقيرا، متعلما أو غير متعلم. وقد أظهرت لنا هذه الجائحة أيضا على مدى الأشهر الماضية أن الطريقة الوحيدة التي يمكننا بها هزيمة هذا التهديد الذي لا مثيل له هي العمل معا والعمل كوحدة متلاحمة. ومع المصاعب التي يسببها فيروس كورونا، فإنه يجب علينا أيضا أن نبقى ثابتين في معركتنا ضد أولئك الذين يسعون إلى نشر الكراهية والتعصب. وبصفة أخص في أوقات التحدي الاقتصادي والعزلة الاجتماعية، فإن خطر انطواء المجتمعات على نفسها ورفض الآخر هو أمر أخطر بكثير. ونحن نعلم يقينا أن المتطرفين من جميع المشارب يسعون إلى استغلال وضع عدم اليقين الحالي لدفع أيديولوجية الكراهية والانقسام، وهي بالضبط العقيدة المناقضة للأشخاص الممثلين هنا في هذا المؤتمر. وأنا أمعن النظر في وجوه الحاضرين، أرى عددا من القادة الذين كرسوا حياتهم لجمع شتات المجتمعات ولزرع بذور التسامح والمحبة، فأنتم جميعا في طليعة هذه المعركة ضد معاداة السامية، وأنتم قادة في معركة أكبر لحماية الإنسانية أجمع. لقد قمت بزيارة أفظع موقع للمعاناة اليهودية في التاريخ وهو أوشفيتس في وقت سابق من هذا العام، ولكنني قضيت أيضا وقتا في مؤسسات يهودية ذات قداسة، وهي التي جعلت من مهمتها أيضا نفع الإنسانية، معابد يهودية في نيويورك وباريس ووارسو وأماكن أخرى، تلك المباني التي تشهد على وجود العقيدة اليهودية والشعب اليهودي، وهي رموز تبرز الانتصار النهائي على ذلك الشر الذي تحدثنا عنه. في لقاءاتي المتعددة مع القادة الدينيين اليهود في عدد من دول الشرق الأوسط وأوروبا والولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، سعدت باهتمامهم العالمي بقدسية المجتمعات والأفراد. في الواقع هم على دراية وثيقة بأحوال عالمنا، حيث يعاني المسيحيون وكذلك المسلمون أشكالا غير عادية من الظلم، وقد تمكنا معا من تكوين شراكات لحشد الناس من مختلف الديانات لتعزيز التفاهم المتبادل وقبول الآخر وتقدير التنوع ورفض التطرف بجميع أشكاله المؤذية. غالبا ما كنت أطرح على القادة الدينيين اليهود سؤالا يبدو بسيطا ولكنه في الحقيقة صعب: كيف يمكنني المساعدة؟ أما الذي يمكنني فعله لدعمكم في معركتكم ضد معاداة السامية، فنحن نتألم أيضا من الإسلاموفوبيا، وقد أخبرني الكثيرون منهم أن أهم شيء هو بناء الوعي، في حين أن اليهود والمسلمين عاشوا قرونا معا، إلا أننا للأسف ابتعدنا عن بعض في العقود الأخيرة. لذا يجب علينا الآن إعادة بناء جسور الحوار وروابط الشراكة العادلة بين مجتمعاتنا. ومنذ تسلمي لقيادة رابطة العالم الإسلامي آليت على نفسي محاربة قوى الكراهية والعنف. لقد طبقنا بعناية منهجا كليا متعدد الجوانب يتضمن برامج تعزيز التسامح في التعليم حول العالم، ومراقبة مناهضة التطرف والتصدي له على أساس العقيدة الحقيقية المعتدلة للإسلام. وقد قمنا بزيادة التواصل بشكل كبير مع الجميع، المسيحيين واليهود والهندوس والبوذيين وغيرهم. ومعركتنا ضد التعصب والانقسام هي ذاتها لا تتغير. في وقت سابق من هذا العام توجت جهودنا على وجه الخصوص لتحطيم أيديولوجية معاداة السامية، توجت بزيارتي على رأس وفد من كبار علماء المسلمين لمعسكر الموت في أوشفيتس، حيث وقفت داعما إلى جانب إخوتي اليهود وقلت: لن يحدث هذا مرة أخرى مطلقا بإذن الله تعالى، لا لليهود ولا للمسلمين ولا للمسيحيين ولا للهندوس ولا للسيخ، لا لأي أحد من البشرية. يجب أن لا يتكرر أبدا أعظم رعب في التاريخ، وهي المحرقة. لقد رأينا المتعلقات الشخصية لتلك الأنفس الفقيرة التي تم ترحيلها إلى هذا المكان المرعب. لقد شاهدنا الثكنات الكئيبة ذات أسرة بطابقين مملوءة بالهوام التي روعت الرجال والنساء والأطفال الأبرياء، وشاهدنا بقايا غرف الغاز والمحارق، وكذلك مسارات القطارات التي جلبت الأشخاص المعبئين يساقون كالقطيع إلى المجازر. لقد لقي أكثر من 1,000,000 من البشر الموت في أوشفيتس، تماما مثل أي شخص آخر، تماما مثل أي مسلم. وعلى الرغم من مرور 75 عاما على انهيار بوابات معسكر الموت في أوشفيتس، إلا أن تأسيس عالم أفضل للأجيال القادمة يمر بصراع مستمر، يجب ألا نتخلى عن تحقيق النصر فيه. تظهر الهجمات حول العالم بما في ذلك مذبحة المصلين المسلمين في كرايست تشيرش بنيوزيلندا، أو قتل المسيحيين الذين كانوا يحتفلون بعيد الفصح في سريلانكا، تظهر أنه إذا ظلت قوى الكراهية والتعصب دون رادع فإنها تهدد جميع مجتمعات الأقليات حيثما وجدوا. فاليهود يعرفون ذلك حق المعرفة. لقد تعرضت مجتمعاتكم إلى أشكال مأساوية وأصبحت هدفا لعدد من الهجمات الإرهابية في بيتسبرغ، في سان دييغو، في مونسي بنيويورك، وفي مدينة هالا بألمانيا. لقد شجبت كل واحد من تلك الاعتداءات الرهيبة على الإنسانية كما لو كانت هجمات على المسلمين. يجب أن نظل يقظين وثابتين في جهودنا، ليس من أجلنا فقط ولكن من أجل أطفالنا وأطفال غيرنا. هناك من يحاولون تزييف التاريخ، من يدعي أن المحرقة، وهي الجريمة الأكثر فظاعة في تاريخنا البشري، أنها نسج خيال. إننا نقف ضد هؤلاء الكاذبين بغض النظر عمن هم أو من أين أتوا. إن إنكار التاريخ لا يمكن أن يخدم سوى أهداف أولئك الذين يقترفون أفكارا كارهة باسم النقاء العنصري أو العرقي أو الديني. من المؤسف أن الإبادة الجماعية لا تزال تشكل تهديدا في عصرنا. لقد صادفناها في دارفور حيث تم استهداف آلاف الرجال والنساء والأطفال بشكل خاطئ. شاهدنا ذلك أيضا في راوندا، بل حتى في أوروبا، وبعد عقود فقط من جريمة الهولوكوست. أخفق العالم في وقف المذابح التي لا معنى لها للمسلمين والأطفال في البوسنة. إلى يومنا هذا تستمر محنة شعب الروهينجا في ميانمار، فدروس المحرقة عالمية. يتحمل المسلمون مسؤولية تعلم هذه الدروس والانتباه إلى تحذير التاريخ والوقوف كجزء من المجتمع الدولي ليقولوا لن يحدث أبدا هذا مرة أخرى بإذن الله تعالى. إن الإسلام الحقيقي يعارض هذه الجرائم الدنيئة والمؤسفة. تبين لنا تعاليم نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أنها من أبشع الجرائم وأكثرها فظاعة على الإطلاق. لهذا السبب يرى الإسلام بحقيقته الناصعة أن أي محاولة لإنكار المحرقة أو التقليل من أهوال وحشيتها هي الإهانة النهائية لكرامة جميع أولئك الذين لقوا حتفهم. لكن عبارة لن يحدث هذا مرة أخرى بإذن الله تعالى أبدا تنطبق على أكثر بكثير من مجرد المحرقة. يجب أن تعكس أيضا معارضتنا المشتركة لسلبية التحيز والتمييز على أساس الإثنية أو الدين أو الجنس أو العقيدة أو العرق أو أي فئة أخرى من هذا القبيل. في العام الماضي جمعت القادة المسؤولين من المجتمعات السياسية والروحية ذات الصلة برسالتنا ومن عدة أطياف، وأدينا قسما رسميا لتعزيز فضائل القيادة المسؤولة في كل ما نقوم به. ماذا يعني كل هذا؟ إنه يعني التصرف بقناعة وليس للإرضاء، مع ضمان اتخاذ القرار الصحيح حتى لو كان صعبا. وهذا يعني العمل لمصلحة المستقبل وبناء عالم جديد يمكن تداوله من جيل إلى جيل. بالنسبة لي وبصفتي قائدا مسلما مسؤولا، فإن الأمر يبدأ بالاعتراف بوجود التطرف والكراهية لدى بعض أتباع الأديان عموما. يجب على كل مسلم رفض تشويه نصوصنا المقدسة التي يستخدمها المتطرفون ويسعون من خلال تأويلها الفاسد لتبرير جرائم الكراهية والخداع. الإسلام يدعو ويستشرف تحقيق السلام بين جميع الشعوب، ولا يمكن تحقيق ذلك إلا من خلال احترام الآخرين والتسامح معهم. أما البديل فهو صراع عنيف لا يتوقف، ونحن في رابطة العالم الإسلامي نعمل بلا كلل لتقوية الروابط بين المسلمين كمسلمين واليهود كيهود والمسيحيين كمسيحيين إلى آخره. ديننا ملتزم بالتسامح والتعايش السلمي وباحترام كرامة البشرية جمعاء. نتقاسم مسؤولية مواجهة كل أولئك الذين يشجعون الانقسام. سنحارب آفة الإسلاموفوبيا ومعاداة السامية وكل أشكال الكراهية، ونحن مدعومون بالحقيقة. رابطة العالم الإسلامي مستعدة لهذه المعركة ومع شركاء مثل الاتحاد السفارديم الأمريكي. نعلم أننا سنحرز بإذن الله تعالى تقدما في بناء غد أكثر إشراقا، وندرك أن الطريق صعب بدون شك، ونعلم أنه قد تكون هناك معوقات على الطريق، ولكن ليس هناك التباس في الاتجاه الذي نسير فيه. إننا فخورون في رابطة العالم الإسلامي بتحمل المسؤولية مع إخواننا وأخواتنا اليهود والمسيحيين لبناء التفاهم والاحترام والحب والوئام بين أتباع الأديان. فجميعنا صاحب كتاب كما هو قول المولى جل وعلا، تربطنا أواصر عميقة، وجميعنا نقدر أهمية العائلة والأصدقاء والأحباء، ونحن نؤمن بأهمية الإيمان، وسنعمل سويا لجعل السلام العادل والشامل حقيقة للمسلمين واليهود ولكل الناس والأديان والحضارات والثقافات عموما. شكرا لانتباهكم. Thank you for your attention.
Act with conviction and not with convenience. Powerful words from Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, and extremely relevant ones for this particular moment in history when we're coming together to talk. And just one more thing of many that stood out to me that I have to mention is this question that Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa says. He asks every Jewish leader, how can I help in your fight against religious hatred? I think that's something that not only leaders and communities can learn from, but also individuals watching. Well, if you've just joined us, you're watching this live event, really an event that's one of its kind, the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award bestowed on Muslim leaders fighting against anti-Semitism. We've, of course, just heard honoree Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, our distinguished speakers, as you see them with us from all around the world. And you can always catch the full program in case you missed any of it later on CAM's Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But after hearing that message from Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, I want to bring in somebody else dealing with religious oppression on a global level on behalf of the United States. After decades in U.S. government, in 2018, Ambassador Sam Brownback stepped into a far-reaching role with a mandate to match the U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, and that means taking stock of religious persecution from the Balkans to India and Africa, from the Middle East all the way to America's Native American communities. Ambassador Brownback, great to have you with us, and share with us a little bit of what you've learned from your own work.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to join you. And congratulations on putting this together. And congratulations as well to my friend, Dr. Al-Issa, who I can't think of a better person to get this award. He has been such a groundbreaker. I still remember when he went to Auschwitz and took that tour through there. That was just an amazing thing. And he did it at a great risk to himself. And yet it's always that leaning in and him being a constituent of the future of what the world needs to look like in the future. I applaud it. I don't think you could have picked a better person. And I look forward to continue to working with him, and also glad to be able to join my other friends on this call and colleagues, Alon Carr, Malcolm Homeline, who I've worked with for years, Dr. Shahid. That's a good universe. You know, one of the core things that Dr. Al-Issa and I have talked about and worked on, and we're still working through, is getting an Abrahamic faith initiative moving forward. And this is one where we get the three Abrahamic faiths of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity together at the theologian level, and talking about how can we work with each other in the spirit and harmony of peace and respect and even love of each other. And if we could get these three Abrahamic faiths to work together in that fashion and have that level of respect, not just a tolerance, that's way too low of a bar, but a respect and admiration, a love and a care for each other, we would move a long ways forward in the world of reducing the amount of hate and violence and difficulty that we have in so many places, in so many corners of the globe. And he's been a partner in working on this, and he wants to work on this, and he is working on this, and we're working together. And I say that to him in admiration and appreciation, and also that the world needs this. This is what the world needs to have. And if we can get these three faiths working together harmoniously and well, this will ripple throughout the world in such a positive way that is going to be so respected and desired, and it's just so needed. We get all these killings that take place, and they wound our heart anytime they happen, whether it's a Jewish synagogue, a Christian church, or a Muslim mosque. It just rips at you because you're just going, no, we're better than this as people. But I think what we've got to do then is bond together and say, we're going to fight and push back against these messages of hatred and violence, and anti-Semitism, anti-Islam, anti-Christianity. We're going to push back together, and we can overcome these forces of hatred and evil, but only if we work together. And that's what your honoree really has been a leading force and a voice to do that. So thanks for involving me. We've got many miles to travel before we sleep, but good starts and good efforts have been made, and more to come. God bless you, Dr. Al-Issa.
Thanks so much to Ambassador Sam Brownback. And indeed, having the conversation in the first place, especially with a group of leaders like yourselves, is a great place to start and move the conversation forward. And I want to bring in a little bit more kind of information that we've heard recently that might underline a little bit of why we're here and just how urgent and important it is. Anti-Semitism is toxic to democracy. That was one bottom line takeaway from an extensive report on the recent spread of anti-Semitism. You might have heard about it earlier from U.S. Envoy Ilan Carr. It was commissioned by the United Nations late last year, and one key finding that anti-Semitism is on the rise in the double digits globally and among both the political right and left. That's key. But behind that report, the UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Belief and Religion, Ahmed Shahid, his role identifying what obstacles stand in the way of religious freedom, there are many, and helping find ways to knock them down. Now, Ahmed, as several of our speakers have noted, this is not a problem that can be solved within communities. It's much bigger than that. So share with us a little bit of your take on global solutions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation for me to join this event. And also thank you, my esteemed friend Ilan Carr, for your very kind words about my work. I am honored to participate in this important event to foster collaboration between Jews and Muslims and to highlight the work done by the Muslim World League and Secretary General Mohammed Al-Issa to combat hatred. Congratulations, Sheikh Al-Issa, for your great work. We live in an age of unprecedented interaction amongst human beings, occasioned by developments in mass communications that have enabled travel like never before. Moreover, the internet has created a global public forum to exchange ideas in speeds, volumes, and formats not imagined even a few decades ago. While these have fostered remarkable bonds of friendship and solidarity, they have also been accompanied by abuses that promote hate and incite violence. The world's religious communities and belief communities have much to offer to push back against that hatred, not only because religion is sometimes used to perpetuate violence, but because of the love that is at the heart of all religious and humanistic beliefs, and because human dignity is the foundation upon all these beliefs rest. As we have seen in the current COVID-19 pandemic, anti-Semitism is a light sleeper, becomes the first to be awakened, but is never the last. The conspiracy theories, the scapegoating, the dehumanizing, and the acts of violence do not spare anyone. This strikes home something the wise sages have known all along, that none of us is safe until all of us are safe. Today, I'm very happy to see a brother in my faith recognized for his laudable work by my brothers and sisters in humanity, and I applaud both the recipient of this award and those who are conferring him this honor. We should not only cheer those who do good, but must also applaud those who encourage others to do good. The fight against anti-Semitism is urgent, and the contribution that Muslim leaders and Muslims in general can make and should make is immense. This is especially so because anti-Semitism is becoming increasingly widespread in the Muslim world, as elsewhere. We have Muslim leaders, like we heard just now, like Muslim leaders like former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir Mohammed, or Supreme Leader of Iran, Khamenei, who have promoted or actively promoting anti-Semitism. But we also have preachers, school teachers, and media persons in the Muslim world who spread anti-Semitic hatred. As a Muslim, I feel deep pain to see the rising anti-Semitism in my own community, and especially so because it is political opportunism that drives it, negating core principles of Islamic teachings. Jews and Muslims have much in common in religion, in history, and in culture. It is politics, feeling of ignorance that divides us. And those in my community who preach such exclusion do not even realize that the anti-Semitism that they preach is itself a denial of our own humanity, our own history, our own legacy, our own contribution to modernity, and the journey that Jews and Muslims have made together throughout history, through good times and bad. Nor do they realize that we all have a shared destiny. When the Ayatollah Khamenei describes human rights as Zionist plot, He is rejecting the great contributions that Muslims, Jews, and Christians had made together in the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, to learning centers in Cordoba, in connecting the insights of the ancients to the Renaissance upon which the modern world is built. The exclusion they preach against Jews thus becomes a denial of our own rightful place as defenders of freedom, social justice, and equality. Hatred is founded on ignorance. It is cowardly and self-defeating. How should we respond? We can begin by being self-reflective. We can begin by learning about each other. Learning is an act of worship, and so is combating anti-Semitism. Governments, public bodies, and NGOs can begin by endorsing the working definition of anti-Semitism adopted by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, because we must recognize anti-Semitism for what it is in its various manifestations. And of course, we can begin by affirming what all religions teach. Treat others as you would have them treat you. Thank you very much.
Ahmed Shahid, something we maybe all learned even in grade school, and something that is so often forgotten and really is essential to be reminded of now. Another reminder that in this common hatred, we've heard this again and again described as a common hatred, common religious hatred, it's united solutions that need to be found. I want to bring in now, after that, another UN representative, but this one from a Muslim majority nation that has a remarkable, and we just heard about remembering history, well, probably lesser known history. A small Jewish community has existed for centuries in Albania, but it grew with Jewish refugees as the Nazi regime spread across Europe. Those refugees turned out to be lucky because as 6 million Jews were massacred, nearly all of Albania's Jews were protected and survived. Besiana Kadare is Albania's representative to the United Nations. Ambassador, great to have you here with us. Share with us a little bit of your view from your vantage point.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a great honor to represent Albania today in this significant event and to be part of such distinguished panel. I'd like to thank the organizers, Director of the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, Sasha Reutemann-Dratwa, and Executive Director of the American Sephardi Federation, Jason Guberman. And of course, I'd like to warmly congratulate Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa for receiving the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award. His remarkable achievements in building bridges between Jewish and Muslim communities are truly impressive and carry great symbolic value. Dear participants, we've been witnessing an alarming trend of growing anti-Semitism, xenophobia, and racism. Increased support for populist discourse has intensified all expressions of intolerance. As new digital channels are enabling an instant and global dissemination of anti-Semitism, hate speech, and religious extremism with virtually no cost and no accountability, we are faced with unprecedented challenges. The UN Secretary General has called it a tsunami of hatred that is gathering speed across the world. Therefore, we all need to urgently step up our response. In this context, Albania, who is currently the chair of the OSCE, convened last February a high-level conference on combating anti-Semitism in the OSCE region. Participants stressed the importance of leadership in forging tolerant and inclusive societies, as well as the role of civil society in building coalitions and acting as a bridge between state institutions and marginalized communities. The critical importance of education in addressing biased perceptions and prejudice was also stressed. We need to invest on youth and engage them in promoting tolerant societies while teaching them respect for religious pluralism and ethnic diversity. I'm proud to have the opportunity today to bring to you the inspiring and successful model of interfaith harmony in my country, Albania. The long-standing tradition of religious tolerance is our national treasure. Listen to what the American ambassador to Albania, Herman Bernstein, wrote in 1934. There is no trace of any discrimination against Jews in Albania. Albania happens to be one of the rare lands in Europe today where religious prejudice and hate do not exist, even though Albanians themselves are divided into 3 faiths. Here, I'd like to say a few words about the exceptional story of how Albanians protected the Jews during the Holocaust. You see, every member of the Jewish community residing within Albania's borders survived the Holocaust. It's a remarkable historical fact that Albania was the only European country that had 10 times more Jews after the end of the war than before. I can proudly say that according to Yad Vashem, there is not a single known case of a Jew being turned over to Nazi authorities in Albania during its occupation. Indeed, during World War II, while millions of Jews across Europe were persecuted, they found a safe refuge in Albania. With extraordinary acts of courage and humanity, ordinary Albanian people risked their lives in order to save strangers in danger. They sheltered displaced Jewish families, bringing them into their homes, providing their guests with false documents, and passing them off as family members in order to keep them safe. The Albanian authorities refused to supply the Nazis with lists of Jews, while the Albanian embassy in Berlin granted visas to Jews from any country when no other country would. Not only native Albanian Jews were rescued, but also thousands of Jewish refugees that fled to Albania from Germany, Austria, Poland, and neighboring Greece, Italy, and the former Yugoslavia. It's important to emphasize that regardless of which religion they belonged to, Albanian Muslims and Christians alike considered helping Jews as a matter of national pride. It is a powerful and enlightened message that Albanians have sent to the world through this story of hospitality, honor, sacrifice, and religious harmony. A message that is very much needed in today's world.
Besiana, Ambassador Besiana Kadare, thanks so much for being with us. What an important reminder. We've been talking about history, about learning from history throughout this special event, and really what a moment in history to learn from. So courageous that I think many people around the world aren't even aware of. So thanks so much for sharing with us a bit of how courage and leadership can actually create change. Maybe some will learn from that today. And I want to jump all the way from there to Morocco, because our next speakers are really a great example of how starting out small on a lower level with a mission can have an impact. Over the course of the 20th century, nearly 1 million Jews from the Middle East and North Africa were displaced from their homes, indigenous communities forced to flee, and their long histories all but erased. The nonprofit group Mimuna started out as a group of young Muslim students willing to stand up and fight for the heritage of Morocco's once vibrant Jewish community. Here are El Mehdi Boudra and Laziza Dalil with this video message from Morocco.
Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, Honorable Sam Brownback, Mr. Ellen Carr, Mr. William Darov, distinguished guests, audience, good afternoon. I'm Laziza Dalil, the Vice President of Association Mimuna. I would like to thank the Muslim World League, the American Sephardic Federation, the Combat Anti-Semitism movement for their invitation. Association Mimuna initiated an educational project on Holocaust in partnership with the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and well-established credible historians to jointly create a curriculum in Arabic tailor-made for the Moroccan audience. The objective was to research and draft a relatable content to reach out and raise awareness among Moroccan youth about the Holocaust and how we can engage a discussion on genocide prevention. This booklet in the first part defines and explains the Nazi ideology, anti-Semitism, tools used by this regime to disseminate its propaganda. In the second part, the curriculum tackles Morocco's history during World War II and the role played by the late Sultan Mohammed V to protect the Moroccan Jewish community. Association Mimuna collaborated with the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum Arabic audience reach-out specialists to hold in several Moroccan cities, Rabat, Casablanca, Essaouira, workshops with young political leaders, social media influencers, and students to present and to distribute the curriculum. We also had the honor during the ceremony held in 2018 by the Conference of Presidents to honor Muslims who protected Jews during Holocaust, to present our work to Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, to Mr. Malcolm Online, and to Mr. Jason Guberman, who showed great support by encouraging and promoting our initiative. Mimouna Association would be honored to participate to a joint effort with the Muslim World League, Confederation of Presidents, the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, the American Sephardi Federation, to work on projects on Holocaust education to raise awareness on genocide prevention.
Dear friends, my name is Elmedi Boudra, founder and president of Association Mimouna. Association Mimouna is a Moroccan NGO created in 2007 by a group of young Moroccan Muslim students to promote and preserve the Jewish heritage of Morocco. I want to thank the Muslim World League, the American Sephardic Federation, and the Combat Anti-Semitism movement for organizing this important virtual program in these difficult times. While the international health experts are working very hard to combat the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, the racial pandemic has been around for centuries. It targets millions of youngsters, and the world has yet to find a vaccine. This is the role of this important initiative, who is bringing Muslim and Jewish leaders to highlight the importance of combating anti-Semitism and other forms of hatred together. In September 2011, Mimouna Association, in partnership with Kivunim, organized the first conference of the Holocaust in the Arab world, commemorating the action of His Majesty late Mohammed V, who refused to consent to the persecution of Moroccan Jews during the occupation of French Vichy. This conference is part of a larger program initiated by Mimouna to promote the education of the Holocaust in Morocco. Since then, Mimouna organized more than 20 programs in several cities in Morocco to educate about these dark chapters of human history. The Holocaust education material created by Mimouna was tailored to the specific context of the Arab and Muslim world, using relevant wording, metaphors, names, and historic events. Today, it's time for moral courage. This event should be the catalyst of change to have a better future and defend our common values of respect, dignity, and peace.
El-Mehdi Boudra and Laziza Dalil in Morocco, thank you both so much, really, and bravo for your work to preserve your country's heritage and to educate, because again, without knowing history, nobody can actually learn from it. Well, at this point, I want to jump back to the U.S. If you're just joining us, we have our distinguished guests from all around the world, from Saudi Arabia to Morocco to the United States to Albania. But now I want to bring in William Daroff, a major voice in American Jewry. He's the CEO of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. And William, I know you also have a few words to share on this issue and on Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa's work.
I do. Thank you so much. It's a distinct honor to join in this ceremony. Thank you to Combat Anti-Semitism Movement and the American Sephardi Federation for bringing us together. It is an honor to be among such a distinguished group of speakers for this important gathering. Congratulations, Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, on receiving this inaugural Combat Anti-Semitism Award. As my esteemed colleague Malcolm Hoenlein noted, the Sheikh is a longtime friend of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, as we have worked closely with the Muslim World League, including during our historic mission just a few months ago to Saudi Arabia, where we had the privilege to meet again together. Upon becoming the World Muslim League's Secretary General in 2016, the Sheikh has been a global leader in the noble work of promoting interfaith dialogue and cooperation. The primary focus and concern of the conference is the vital role it plays in the ongoing fight against anti-Semitism, which has become an increasingly urgent issue around the world. The Sheikh and the Muslim World League have stood shoulder to shoulder with us in this struggle. As Malcolm and our dear friends from Morocco just noted, a few years ago, we hosted an event at the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York, honoring and commemorating the brave and righteous Muslims who protected Jews during the Shoah. The featured guest was the Sheikh, who spoke movingly of the critical importance of Holocaust education in Muslim countries. He also addressed the state of Jewish-Muslim relations and the need for unrelenting pursuit of peace and goodwill between our two faiths, as he did again today during this ceremony. In describing the Holocaust, the Sheikh has said that true Islam opposes genocide and that it was, quote, an incident that shook humanity to the core and created an event whose horrors could not be denied or underrated by any fair-minded or peace-loving person, unquote. As the head of the Muslim World League, he has consistently demonstrated his commitment to engaging with the Jewish community in meaningful dialogue to help bring Jews and Muslims closer together in an atmosphere of mutual dignity and respect. The symbolic importance of the energy and devotion which he brings to this endeavor cannot be overstated. The Sheikh's message of peace and fellowship between Jews and Muslims has perhaps never been more necessary than it is today, when we see anti-Semitism on the rise, racism manifest, and intergroup tensions created and exploited by radical and extremist elements. To stem the tide of anti-Semitism we are witness to, we need an international response. When it rears its ugly heads, words and condolences are not enough. There must be action from all sectors of government and society. We must also push for a response that comes not just from the Jewish community, but also from non-Jewish leaders and influential people the world over, as exemplified by the Sheikh's efforts and as he so eloquently reaffirmed just a few moments ago. We should not be alone in this fight against the world's oldest hatred, but coming together, I'm certain we can neutralize it. On behalf of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Mazel Tov again, Sheikh, on a well-deserved award today. With your help and guidance, we will continue strengthening the ties of the Jewish people with not just the Muslim community, but with followers of all faith. We look forward to continuing our productive relationship with you and the Muslim World League as we work to roll back the resurgence of anti-Semitism, along with all other forms of racism and bigotry around the globe. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak and honor our dear friend, the Sheikh.
Thanks so much to William Daroff in Washington. And right away, I'd like to bring in as well Mark Wilfa, another key voice, a son of Holocaust survivors who's dedicated much of his work to the support of Jewish communities, including now as chair of the JFNA Board of Trustees. And Mark, let me get some of your thoughts on what we've heard here so far.
Marie, thank you. To combat anti-Semitism, the American Sephardi Federation, all the distinguished ambassadors, panelists, honorees, organizations represented on this panel, and to those watching, hope you and your families are all safe and well, and great to be with you, united in this important mission of combating anti-Semitism. On behalf of the Jewish Federations of North America, representing 146 independent Jewish federations and 300 smaller network communities, I want to wish a hearty Mazal Tov to Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa for receiving the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award. For all freedom-loving people, regardless of their race, creed, or religion, this is a difficult time. Just a few weeks ago, a video from India circulated on the internet which showed a young Muslim man begging for his life. His attackers, who accused him of intentionally trying to spread the coronavirus, beat him and threatened to set him on fire. Just one part of a wave of violence targeted against India's 200 million Muslim minority. Last week, armed militants in Mali killed 27 residents of a Christian farming village in 3 attacks over less than 24 hours. Events like this have become common in the country and neighboring Nigeria, Algeria, and Eritrea, where Christians suffer tremendous persecution. Across America, we have witnessed brutal attacks against worshipers in Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue, Poway, California's Chabad Synagogue, and at a Jewish event in Muncie, New York. And we have seen uprisings throughout the country over the brutal death of George Floyd and other injustices committed against people because of their skin color. There's tremendous hatred in the world. It rears its ugly head in many forms and in every corner of the globe. That's why the actions of Sheikh Al-Issa are so important to mark and to honor. For myself, as a child of Holocaust survivors, I was deeply touched by your decision to lead a delegation of Muslim leaders to Auschwitz and to celebrate Shabbat with the local Jewish Polish community. At a time when we need greater empathy for each other's struggles, increased understanding for all that makes us different from one another, and genuine brotherhood, you have been a strong voice, a global leader promoting cooperation and coexistence. It's my distinct pleasure to be here with you today and to honor you with such an esteemed group of organizations and speakers. Together, we will not allow evil and hate to change our way of life. We will bring light where there is darkness. Ken Yehi Ratzon, inshallah, so may it be God's will, and so it may be our sacred trust. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And on that note, helping us begin to close out this inspiring group of speakers, Rabbi Eli Abadi of the American Sephardi Federation. And he can really speak from a unique vantage point, as many of our other speakers. He's someone who's been part of Jewish communities around the world, from where he was born in Lebanon to where he grew up in Mexico and where he's built a life in the United States. Rabbi Abadi, especially as part of the American Sephardic community, tell us a little bit about the importance of this event to you and of what we've heard here.
Thank you very much. It gives me really great pleasure, an honor and a privilege to join a distinguished panel of people that are going to honor my dear friend, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Issa, including among those panels, my dear friend Malcolm Hoenlein, Ambassador Ilan Carr, William Daroff, and the rest of the distinguished panel. It really gives me great pleasure and honor. First and foremost, to my very, very dear friend, Sadiqi wa Azizi, Al-Muhtaram wal-Musharraf, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al-Issa, Eid Milad Sa'id. Happy birthday, my dear friend. I understand is your birthday. Wishing you عقبال 120 سنة بالصحة والعافية. 120 years of good health, success, and so much of your good work to continue with you. We are with you, and our heart is glad and joy that you're celebrating this birthday today. And so, my dear friend, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Issa, it gives me again a great pleasure and honor to be one of those who will celebrate not just your birthday, but this honor that you are being bestowed. You are a man of God and you are a man of humankind. And that's exactly what Judaism is all about also. Our responsibilities between man and God and our responsibilities between man and our fellow human beings. Our two religions, Judaism and Islam, they go a long way from the beginning. From the beginning of the history of Islam over 1400 years, two religions that have so much commonality, theological commonality, that our ancestors, not just Ibn Maymun, but Rabbi Saadia Gaon, and many other of our rabbinic and sages have had so much communication, discussion, philosophic, religious, with Islam's leaders and sages of ages. We have had our golden era, and unfortunately, we have had also our going down and our time of difficulties. But all along, we understood each other to be two religions that believe in one God and the benevolent God, and a God that wants justice and peace in this world. You have become now a leader of those who seek peace and justice, not just tolerance, but acceptance with other religions. And you have become a leader of Islam who is seeking to build bridges amongst all nations and all people. I had the privilege to join you in Sri Lanka several months ago in that wonderful national reconciliation meeting that you had, and was able to witness by myself all your work that you have done, your visits to the Auschwitz, to the Holocaust Museum, to Srebrenica, and to all those places that represent hatred and represent destruction, either anti-Semitism or anti-Christianity or Islamophobia. And you went to heal those wounds of all those people. You are a healer, you are a bridge builder, and you are somebody who I consider and count as a friend. As a Sephardic Jew, we always felt very, very close to Islam, our sister religion. We understood each other well. We spoke the same language. We had same traditions. We enjoyed the same culture. We even enjoyed the same food. And so to us as a natural link, it's a natural brotherhood. And I'm so proud that as a member of the American Sephardi Federation, we were able to reach out to you and hold hand together in the pursuit of peace, justice, and brotherhood amongst our people. So I will not extend more, as so many of my distinguished colleagues have spoken so well before me. The only thing I could say is, Allah yahfadak, may God protect you. Wa rabbina yibarikak, may God bless you. And may you continue in this wonderful work, which is really a work of God. As God in Jewish tradition name is Shalom, peace. You are bringing peace amongst all nations of the world and all religions of the world. Please count on me to be there with you, to help you, to support you, and to further your wonderful work in this world. Again, may God bless you. May God give you umr tawil wa yahfadak, and may God bless the work of your hand. Amen. Thank you very much.
Rabbi Abadi, thank you so much for your message, for your help in creating this event in the first place, and for that important information about the Sheikh's birthday. We wish him a very happy birthday, and a thank you also to Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa for spending part of his birthday having this very important conversation with leaders from around the world. And really, it's not just those leaders, those ambassadors who would like to thank you, who would like to say a word to the Sheikh, because when we talk about anti-Semitism, it's usually atrocities in the headlines that people hear about, like the synagogue massacres in Pittsburgh and in Poway, California, or in Germany. But anti-Semitism, like all religious hatred, happens on a daily basis in much more subtle ways that we never even hear about. So from just a few of those citizens around the world who have been faced with it, a thank you to Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa.
I'm Saskia Pantel from Sweden.
My name is Rabbi Yossi Verovich.
My name's Adela Kochav Moadad.
My name's Joseph Cohen.
My name is Andrew Gallitzer.
My name is Marie-Sara Severger.
My name is Paul Cornel.
My name is Cheyenne Paris.
My name is Romeo Monteiro.
Hi, I'm Penelope Kogan.
I spent most of my life in hiding because my family was too fearful of me talking about my heritage.
In October 2019, we had someone vandalize our sukkah.
When I was in college, I took a stand against anti-Semitism because I saw students getting harassed.
I was really scared by the amount of anti-Semitism I found and the baseless hatred for Jews.
Today, in France, you can get killed only because you are a Jew.
It was a very intimidating moment, and no one spoke up.
A while ago, I was discussing the similarities between Judaism and Islam with a young Muslim couple when a man approached them screaming that they shouldn't speak to me because I was a Jew. He started saying that Jews are parasites, that the Holocaust never happened. Every insult you could imagine, he threw at us.
We would like to thank and acknowledge the great work Mohammed Al-Issa does throughout the Muslim world in combating anti-Semitism.
I wanted to thank the Sheikh Mohammed Al-Issa for standing against anti-Semitism
and showing the world that we are together no matter of faith, nationality, or anything.
Which is why I'm so grateful for the Muslim World League and Mohammed Al-Issa's work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking a stand against anti-Semitism, and thank you for speaking up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's really incredible to hear of the work that you're doing to bring the children of Abraham, the Jewish people and the Ummah, the Muslims together, so we can celebrate the incredible relationships we've historically had. So from the depth of my heart, thank you for speaking out against anti-Semitism.
And as we begin to come to a close, still with me, of course, is Sasha Roitman-Dratwa, the director of the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement, to now present officially this award to Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa.
Dear Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, first of all, happy birthday. We didn't know that it will be your birthday when we pick up this date, so we celebrate twice today, and I'm glad that you do it with us. So congratulations for your birthday, but also for receiving this award. So on behalf of the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, the 200-member organization of the coalition, the 250,000 individuals, it is my honor to award you with the first ever Combat Anti-Semitism Award. You are receiving it in recognition of your engagement in the fight against anti-Semitism, for uniting people of all faith, for speaking out against Holocaust denial, and for inspiring the next generation to be better and to do better in saying no and yes to peace. So thank you for all what you do. It's an honor to give you this first award. And I must say that I'm very sad that we cannot give you in person, so I promise that it will come to your house very soon, and hopefully you're going to receive it in the next weeks.
Well, while this award is on its way to Saudi Arabia, I'd love to give Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa the opportunity to say a few more words with the help of our translator.
شكرا لكم. أود أن أعبر عن شكري لهذا التكريم ومع تقديري الكبير له.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. I would like to express my sincere appreciation for this great award.
وأيضا مع تقدير الكبير له أن ما قمت به في مواجهة كافة أساليب الكراهية والعنصرية ومن ذلك معاداة السامية هو واجب من واجباتي.
And countering all sorts of hatred and racism, including anti-Semitism, is a part and parcel of my goal and objective.
وسنظل نحن وأنتم في مواجهة كافة أشكال الكراهية والعنصرية لأننا نعتقد جميعا أنه لا سلام لعالمنا في ظل وجود الكراهية والعنصرية.
There will never be peace in our world without racism and hatred, and that's why we will constantly cooperate together in countering them.
نحن نؤمن بأن اليهود لهم حق الوجود وبكرامة مثل غيرهم وأن معاداة عرق اليهود هو عنصرية وهمجية مثل ما هي معاداة المسلمين لكونهم فقط مسلمين.
We believe that Jews have the right to exist and in an honorable manner. In the same way that Muslims have the right to exist.
وكما قلت في كلمتي نحن أحوج ما نكون إلى أن نتعاون في مواجهة تلك التهديدات العنصرية لأنها تستهدف وجودنا وكرامتنا.
And as I was saying previously, we are in dire need for countering racism because they threaten our mere existence.
نحن في رابطة العالم الإسلامي وفي هيئة علماء المسلمين ومعنا الآلاف من علماء المسلمين إضافة إلى ملايين الشعوب الإسلامية ندرك أيضا بأن خطورة العنصرية والكراهية فادحة النتائج.
We at the Muslim World League, along with the Muslim Ummah and millions of Muslims around the world, understand that racism will only lead to destruction on a global level.
وسنعمل على القضاء على هذه الكراهية والعنصرية بقوتنا الناعمة.
Hence, we will eliminate this racism and hatred through our force and ability.
وسننتصر عليها لأننا نمتلك الحقيقة.
And we will deem victorious against them because the truth is with us.
ولأننا نمتلك القيم العالية إنها قيمنا المشتركة.
And that's also because we possess the higher values. And because of this reason also we will deem victorious against them.
أنا فخور بهذا اللقاء وفخور أيضا بمشاركة الحضور وأيضا وأقدر الكلمات التي استمعتها.
I highly appreciate all the warm words that I heard, and I'm very proud to receive this award, and I thank all the attendees. Thanks all of you for attending and speaking.
وكل فخر بهذا اللقاء مع هؤلاء النخبة من القادة الدينيين ومن السياسيين ومن المفكرين.
And especially through the kind words of the elites from the religious, political, and intellectual worlds.
ومن بشائر هذا المؤتمر أنه جعلني ألتقي مرة أخرى بأصدقاء أعزاء على قلبي.
And through this event, I am glad to announce that I was very happy to see some very close and dear friends, very close to my heart.
Not just our dear friend, our dearest friend.
Our best friends.
وهم أصدقاء أعزاء جدا على قلبي.
Very, very dear and close friends, close to my heart.
Thank you very much.
Sheikh Dr. Mohammed Al-Issa, thanks so much for those words. And really, on any day, to have this group of leaders coming together would be something. But at this particular moment, such a volatile and fragile time for so many nations, it's that much more meaningful. We are all living through a time of seismic change. It's clear that a shift is happening, but it's probably way too early to tell exactly how it'll turn out. So hopefully this hour and the inspiring messages shared has been a wake-up call that religious hatred as we know it is not a reality that should just be accepted as fact, and that a different future for Jews and Muslims can be part of that change. A huge thank you to the Combat Anti-Semitism movement and the American Sephardi Federation for creating this event, to all our speakers, and of course to the World Muslim League and its Secretary General, Sheikh Dr. Al-Issa, for your work and the message you've shared with us. And thanks to everybody joining us wherever you may be around the world. With your attention and your help, this important conversation continues.